Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and I'm joined today by my friend Denzel, who has been helping me explore some of the cool gun stuff here in South Africa. And I figured it would be cool to take a few minutes and talk about what are the gun laws in South Africa. We did this a while back about Canada, and people were really curious about it. And South Africa has its own unique, interesting system. So I guess to start at the basics, let's say if I've never gotten into guns here in the country and I want to go buy a gun, what do I have to do?
Zen, I think you first need to understand that all guns in South Africa are on a central firearm register. So all guns are registered, all guns are licensed.
Okay.
If it's not licensed, if it's not on the register, it's illegal.
Can't have it.
Can't have it. So for you to start as the newbie gun owner, you need to start off by getting a competency certificate. So that's kind of a comprehensive, kind of a one-day course where you get tutored in the gun laws of the country. You need to shoot, show that you can actually handle a firearm, and then apply for a competency certificate. Comprehensive background check gets done, fingerprints, the whole bang shoot, and you get this competency certificate, and that's valid for 5 years.
Okay. And so what does that allow me to purchase?
Firearm owners in the country are basically categorized into two different categories, and then firearms are also categorized.
Okay.
So to start with the owner, a regular gun owner, you're allowed 4 firearms.
Okay.
Of only one can be a firearm for self-defense.
Okay.
So that allows you to own a handgun, be that a revolver, a pistol for self-defense,
okay,
or for sporting purposes, and then a hunting rifle, a shotgun, as long as it's not semi-automatic or fully automatic.
Okay.
So if we take that into the categories of the firearms, you get regular firearms. Those are all your manual action firearms. Maybe we'll start at the other end. So we start at the prohibited firearms.
Okay.
So firearms that are prohibited, that you're not allowed to own, those are essentially full automatic firearms, and in your terms, machine guns.
Okay.
So the only people who can own that are collectors, Category A collectors.
Okay.
So, and then one level down is restricted firearms. Those are semi-autos, semi-auto shotguns, and semi-auto rifles. Semi-auto handguns are classed as regular firearms.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So then regular firearms are bolt actions, pump actions, anything that requires a manual action to make this gun work, or a semi-automatic pistol is a regular firearm.
Okay. So we've got 3 basic, standard, restricted, and prohibited.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there are, you said a Class A collector. So
if we go back to the person, there's 2 categories there. It's a regular gun owner, 4 guns, that's it, or dedicated.
Okay.
So in dedicated, there are basically 3 fields you can be dedicated in, or classed as dedicated, or categorized as dedicated, whichever way you want to call it. Dedicated sports shooter, dedicated hunter, dedicated collector.
Okay.
So if you are a sports shooter, you need to be dedicated. You need to participate in IPSC or IPDA or one of those disciplines, 3-gun nation, anything like that.
Okay. And there's quite a lot of that down here.
Yeah, very much so. And other disciplines as well.
Okay.
I mean, there's pin shooting, basically everything you get in the States. That's what the guys do out here.
Okay.
That's the sport shooter. That allows you to get semi-automatic rifles, semi-automatic shotguns, but for sporting purposes.
Okay. And you can have more than 4 guns?
You can have more than 4 guns as long as you can motivate that gun to fit into a particular sport that you want to participate in. And also the association where you affiliate to get dedication, they have to endorse every firearm to say that this gun is suited for our association and for the sports presented by our association.
Okay, so regardless of what you're allowed to own, you have to get a permit to get it.
Per gun.
And you have to explain why you want that gun.
Per gun.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not insurmountable. Guys can do it. It works. Guys certainly not stopping you guys from owning firearms and participating in shooting sport. The other one would be dedicated hunter. A hunter, same thing. Affiliated to an association. That association needs to endorse the firearm that you need this particular firearm to hunt elephant with, and it's not suited to hunt a lesser deer species or whatever the case may be.
Okay, so if you're a dedicated sportsman or a dedicated hunter, that you can go out and buy something like a 505 Gibbs.
Yes.
Which you wouldn't probably be able to buy if you were licensed as a dedicated competition shooter or sportsman.
Correct.
Same thing, you could probably get yourself a mag-fed semi-auto shotgun as a sportsman that maybe you couldn't get as a hunter, depending on what you're hunting.
Yes, you can't. Semi-auto firearms are not allowed for hunting in South Africa by South African law. So you cannot get any semi-auto firearm
as a hunter.
As a hunting firearm.
Okay.
So basically allows you to have a plains rifle, a brush rifle, a dangerous game rifle, a small game rifle. And you guys think of a lot.
I'm sure they do. Okay, and then collectors.
Collectors are essentially also categorized. So a category A collector is somebody who can own full auto firearms, machine guns.
Sign me up. All right. What do I have to do to get that?
We'll start at the bottom end.
Okay.
Let's go down the list and we'll work our way back up.
Okay.
Then category B, semi-auto. Semi-auto rifle, semi-auto shotguns. You need a category B collector.
Okay.
License. Then category C, that's anything manual. So that is for your standard firearms. Category B would be for your restricted firearms, and category A would be for the prohibited firearms.
Okay.
And then we've got one last small category, which is category D. And that's like a development collector. Somebody who wants to start off, he's got 4 guns and he wants to build on the collection, and he gets into this as a category D collector, and that's where he starts.
Okay. So everyone has to start at D?
Yeah, and then you need to stay there for like 2 years, and then you can upgrade to a C, and then you can stay there for a couple of years, and then you can upgrade to a B.
So what's required to do that upgrade? Like, do you just ask the government? Like, hey, I really want to have some cooler stuff?
Yes, you basically, every time you want to upgrade on status, your competency needs to be renewed. So for each category, you get a different, call it background check.
Okay.
And if it's a A, where you want to be, very strict background check, regular inspections, make sure that you toe the line.
Okay. But once again, no matter what the gun laws are, in every country, there are people who have legal machine guns.
Yes.
There always are.
By all means, they are. South Africa, not many, but they are.
Okay.
They are full auto machine guns in South Africa. Yeah.
Okay.
Some of the cool stuff goes on.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where was I going with this? I lost my train of thought. Is there a waiting period or anything? Like, if let's say I've got the license, or I'm allowed to own it. I don't have my 4 guns yet. There's a bolt action rifle I want to buy.
Yeah.
I find one in a shop. I give the guy some money. Then what?
And he'll give you an application form, which you'll complete, and you'll take that to your police station, and you'll apply for the license for that gun. So we've got a 2-tier system. We've got a system here where you are licensed, that's your competency certificate, and your collector's classification, that's where the person is licensed. The second tier is where the firearm is licensed.
Okay.
So you can own the gun. Now you need to apply for the license from the police with the necessary motivation as to why you need this particular gun.
Okay.
And how it's going to fulfill your needs. And then you wait. Usually takes about 3 months, 4 months.
Ooh.
And you get a little card with all the detail on. You go back to the shop and it's your gun.
So it's not really a formal waiting period.
No,
it's
processing.
dealing with the bureaucracy.
Yeah, it's dealing with the bureaucracy and processing time.
Okay.
That's essentially it.
And I think one other thing that's maybe not unique here, but different here than other places, is that self-defense is not just a recognized legitimate purpose. I think you were saying it's like the easiest, the most common.
Yeah, it's kind of everybody's got the right to self-defense. So it is that first gun, and if it's a handgun, that is the easiest way to motivate them. And in fact, in a lot of police stations, if you come in and you don't have a firearm and you want to put a gun up for sporting purposes, they'll say, no, self-defense is kind of the way to do this. So, and you don't need endorsements from associations and everything else. So it is. And so most young guys that are into sport shooting will start off by purchasing a CZ75, and that will be his defense gun as well as his sporting gun.
You guys do like the CZs here, don't you?
Are there any other guns?
Just a few.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, there are a lot of countries where, like, you can have a gun for hunting or you can have it for competition, but self-defense is not acceptable. So it's always interesting as I'm able to travel to different countries to see just these different quirks or different specializations in different laws.
Yeah, and also, I mean, your gun license is also your carry permit. So if you've got that license for the gun license for the firearm, that's your carry permit. You don't have a separate carry permit. So when that gun's legally yours, you got the license in your pocket, and the CZ on your hip.
Okay, wow, that's kind of cool. Actually, that's another thing that's fairly unusual.
Yeah.
So, all right, and guns are a pretty common thing here. It's an accepted part of the culture, it seems.
Yeah, I think.
Or is it just that I've only been hanging out with people who have a ton of guns?
I think you've been hanging out with the guys like this. But like South Africa is, I think we've beaten the Americans to the rifleman nation.
Great. All right, we'll work on that. All right. Well, thank you very much. That was very cool.
No problem. Thank you. Good.
Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something new about gun laws in South Africa.